And Josh from Vacuums R Us and Sewing 2 in Colorado, and today I'm going to do a hose replacement on this Bissell spot cleaner. So I've done a hose replacement video before for a different type of spot cleaner. Essentially Bissell has three main types of spot cleaners, right? So this is a different type I haven't done before. You know, it's called a little green, but there's more than one little green. There's two different types. So generally speaking, you know, if you have a torn hose, which is super common on all these spot cleaners, on this one our tear is right here, right? So it has this bend right here where you put the hose up all the time and it bends, and the tear is actually right there, cracked. If you have a tear, which is super common, this is not too bad of a repair, although I will say, if after watching this video you have any hesitation or any doubts that you can pull it off, do not bring this thing in to your local Bissell authorized service center in a cardboard box. They will laugh you out of town. I will not work on it if you bring it in here in pieces. It's your problem now. So watch the video in its full. If you feel secure in getting the repair done, again, this is an electrical repair. You got electricity and water in this machine. So if anything goes wrong, you burn your house down, that's on you. I'm not liable. Just trying to help out here. So anyway, back to what models this applies to. I mean, they all look very similar. They're gonna have different colors, possibly through here, but they have two tanks, one on each side. The tanks are generally like this. The dirty water tank has this ring on the bottom of it that comes apart. And then your clean water tank has a non-removable plunger right here that sits in there. If your machine looks like that, this video is gonna apply to you. I'm gonna glove up right here because shampooers are gross. Fundamentally, that's how that's their life. They suck up crap. That's what they do. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, pull these. The parts that I'm using, the hose that I'm using, I will link to that, to the appropriate hose. Again, there's a number of different types of spot cleaners, so it can be confusing trying to get the right hose. There's essentially like three different types of hoses. So I'm gonna take the tanks off, and then we've got some screws that are holding this together here. I've got 1, 2, 3 screws right here. I'm gonna pop out real quick. If you don't have a magnetic dish, grab one at your hardware store. Although some of these screws on the Bissell shampooers are not, they don't magnetize. I don't know. Stainless steel, it's not magnetic. I don't know. So, and there's another 3 on the other side. All right, so after that, this little thing is gonna come out of here on this side, right? And then on this side, we've got another little thingy that's gonna come out. And then this part is gonna kind of pop up for me right there, right? I've got some wires that are hooked up right here that go into the switch that's up here. But if we're careful, we should. And this one, the wires are pretty tight. But I can still do this with this lid off, just kind of hanging like that. Sometimes you've got a little bit more wire in here, and this whole thing you can just pop it off and lay it down. But on this one, I don't have much space, so we're not going to be able to do that on this one. But I can still get to what I need to get to. So I'm going to remove the old hose first. The old hose has this U-bend thing on it that you can kind of see right there. I got one screw holding that in, so I'll pop that out. And this is going to be a smaller screw. So the external screws I took out are a little bit larger, right? So the larger screws are on the outside, the smaller screws on the inside. And then there's one more screw over here, which we can kind of get to the caddy corner right there. Pop that sucker out. So there's essentially two hoses. There's a small hose inside the large hose, right? You can actually see it now that this is torn a little bit more. So the small hose has the cleaning solution in it, and that goes up to the front and sprays out. And then the large hose is your return hose that the suction pulls the dirty water back in. So our small hose comes around here, and it snakes over into here, goes directly into our pump assembly that's right there. So we've got a clip on that pump assembly that I can't really get to unless I unscrew the pump. you may not need to take your pump out. It depends on how the clip is oriented. It's a hose clamp, and if it's oriented in such a way that you can get to it easily, you won't even need to take the pump out. You can just clip it. But I'm gonna have to take my pump out because of the orientation of that clip. Okay, so now I've got my pump out right here, the dark hose, and sometimes it may be a clear hose that's inside here too. So, but in this case, my dark hose right here is the pump pushing out. The clear hose is like a exhaust for the pump. It actually hooks up to the suction chamber and helps to prime or cool the motor. It actually pulls air off the motor. So anyway, I'm going to unconnect that. You can see why I had to pull the pump, because the clip right here was on the bottom. And I'll grab needle nose, will work fine for that. So unclip that, pull that out. I'm going to twist this hose a little bit to loosen it up so it'll pop out. If your hose is super tight, you can take a heat gun or a hair dryer if you have one and heat it up, and that'll make it so it pops off. In my case, my hose came right off. I'm going to take this hose clamp off so I don't lose it and put it with my screws. And now I'm able to snake that hose out from in there. All right, and I'm going to flip it over. Pop that back in there. I'm going to flip it over, and then down here, there's a couple more screws, a base plate. And those are the smaller screw type on the bottom. So we've only got two different screw types thus far. The larger screws are the ones that go in the top, and the smaller ones are the internal ones. And we actually had the screw type with a larger head actually holds the pump down too. Those are pretty obvious. So we'll pop that out to the bottom. And then this hose assembly will pop completely out. And so this is what we're going to be replacing here. This right here, this little brush, this is a separate item, that tool brush, so we'll set that aside. But this is the defective hose. We're going to toss it. I'm going to go grab the replacement component, and I will be right back. So anyway, if I remember correctly, yeah, my hose is going to go directly into the pump. So the hose is a little bit longer than I need it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and crimp it to a more reasonable and sane length. Put my hose clamp on there. Pop that puppy on there, and it usually is going to slide right on. These new hoses are pretty flexible, so you really don't usually need to heat the hose up. I'm going to put my clamp on. We'll get that pump back in there. Let me reset this thing while I'm at it. And again, the two screws that are holding the pump down are the ones with the very broad heads. And they're not magnetic, so it's kind of a pain to deal with these screws. They fall all over the place. There's another one. All right. Make sure this is seated. I got my wires where they need to be. Everything going back where it's supposed to. All right, and I got my two caps here. This one goes in right there, and then this one's gonna go right over here on the other side. And then I should have. All right, so the two remaining small screws are the ones that hold the intake for the hose in. One goes there. And then the other one is goes in kind of sideways. The screw has to go down straight, but you have to hold the driver kind of sideways. It's kind of a pain. I think actually you can take those out after you take the base out. I think they actually hold it to the base. You can take the base out and then disconnect them. It might be easier, but I have never done it that way, so I'm not going to start today. And that goes in there. We got three more screws, and these are, now we're down to the longer screws that hold the housing in there. Okay, I'm gonna go grab some water, and then we're gonna test this puppy real quick. All right, so we have our moment of truth here. Again, I will link to this hose in the description below. We usually have them in stock. If not, we have them on special order, back orderable status. Usually if that's the case, it's already inbound. It just might take a couple weeks for you to get it. They are a hot item and they do run out occasionally, so we always have them on order. All right. Usually it takes a while to prime. There we go. Get a good solid spray out of there. Good solid pickup. No leaks. All right, another successful repair. It vacuums RS and Sewing too. If you have any questions about this repair, feel free to reach out. I'm going to be honest with you, at this point, we've got so many videos and I have so many questions. I am not great at keeping up with them, but I will do what I can if you have a sane and reasonable question.